Oh shit, are you serious? Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a new episode of Ironically Serious. It is your host, Taylor Hedden, and I am sitting in my brand new office. And by brand new, I really just painted. And by I mean my husband painted my office. And I swear it is a completely new space. I want to live in here, even though I have over 3,000 square feet of other living space in my house. This is the room I want to be in. So I figured it's time for a solo episode. The last solo episode I did was after Leadville or shortly after Leadville. And I really talked a lot about the Leadville experience, what I learned, what happened there, how I was feeling. And I think that was about a month ago, maybe a little over a month ago. Honestly, I can say since that episode, when I told you guys I was just fired up about so many things in life and fitness and running and just being uncomfortable, I can definitely say that the last month or two have been incredible in really every single way. Not that I have been perfect. In fact, I I did cut back a little bit on drinking and feel like I'm in a really good place physically. However, I have recently discovered that I have a new obsession. You guys know I am an obsession queen and I love new things and I get these obsessive eras. And as one of our previous guests mentioned, it's really not about it being obsessive, it's about having variety, right? And I don't know, I guess I needed a little variety lately. So I have recently become obsessed with martinis. A little vodka, dirty martini, which is crazy because those of you who know me, those of you who have followed me, or even just been out with me in any capacity at an event, in person, at a dinner, at a networking event, I am a Manhattan girl through and through. Me and Manhattans, we go together like Carrie Bradshaw and a pair of designer heels. I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would be abandoning my signature cocktail, but I don't know what it's been. I've been feeling like I'm in a martini vibe. And so I've been drinking these dirty martinis and I realized bourbon and me also go hand in hand because I can drink bourbon. I can drink a lot of bourbon and be fine. And it would take me 4, maybe 5 Manhattans to really be drunk, not buzzed, drunk. 2 martinis, your girl is feeling really good. And so I have to be careful because they taste like water or they taste like brine. I like them dirty. So I didn't even know that there's a thing called Galveston dirty. If you're not a Texas person, you might not even know what that means, but Galveston is a beach and that word beach is very lightly taken. There's a beach here in Texas, just about 45 minutes from where I live on the coast in Houston, and it's known for being dirty. Like, it's just not a beautiful place. I love it, actually. I take that back. I love Galveston. I think it's beautiful. I've had many a trips there. It's historic. The city is beautiful. The beach isn't great, like the water itself, but you kind of have to know where to go. However, I was at a bar recently having a little cocktail before I had an event to go to, and the man sitting next to me said, "Oh, can I order a Galveston dirty martini?" And I was like, "What the fuck is that?" Turns out it's like extra, 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 extra dirty, which is not how I like mine. I like mine just mid dirty, you know what I mean? A little mid dirty. And I, yeah, I feel it after a couple drinks. So I don't know why I just started the episode with sharing my new martini obsession, but you guys know I get these weird obsessions. And I saw these really cute earrings on Amazon that are little olives on a stick or like a little pick. And I just thought that was the cutest thing in the world and I needed to get them. Anyways, since we last chatted, there has just been so much that has gone on. I can't even believe it's October. For starters, some of you also may have seen my son broke his arm. And it's really not that big of a deal. I think I made it a big deal because it was the first time in my son's life, and he's 6, that he was hurt badly and I was not there. And for those listening who are moms or parents who work from home and you are with your kid 24/7, like I have been home with my kid since he was born. And even though he goes to school now and he used to go to mom's day out and daycare and all the things, I was always the one home, picking him up, taking him to school, home in the evenings. Josh has been traveling so much for work, a lot, a lot. I mean, what feels like almost every week he's been in Dallas. He had a really big promotion earlier this year. And so he's a big dog. He's a big corporate dog and he has to do a lot of traveling. So I am the one at home doing all the things. And I've always been that way and I've built my life that way. It's why I started my business. It's why I have been so passionate about being in control of my time and boundaries. And honestly, even why I created the business I did with systems, because it gives me structure. It gives me the ability to be able to be home or pick him up from school if he's sick or let him stay home from school if he can't go one day or whatever the scenario might be, right? Volunteering for that or dropping this off for snacks, volunteering to do the photos for the theater. And the one time that he, what I felt like needed me the most, I wasn't there. And it was a really, really tough day. I was driving to Dallas for Boss Vision Conference, which is a work conference that I spoke at in September. And we had been planning this conference. I say we, I had been planning to be at this conference for months and months. And so it was a Friday. I had dropped the kids off at school. Josh was in Dallas, and we had timed it perfectly to where I would be driving to Dallas. He would be driving back from Dallas, and we'd kind of cross paths, and he would be back in time to pick up the kiddo from school. Totally normal. I'm about 2.5 hours into my drive, and I get a phone call from his teacher. And if you're a parent, phone calls from school are never good. There's a kid sick, there's something going on. Answer the phone, and immediately she says, "Hey, Taylor, we think Josh broke his arm and he needs to go to the hospital. Do you want us to call an ambulance or do you want to take us to take him?" And I'm going 85 on I-45. Like, what the fuck? And I immediately say, "Oh my gosh, well, is he okay? Did he hit his head? Is he all right?" And I said, "I'm not even in town right now, and neither is dad. We're both driving and we're both about 2 hours away." So they ended up driving him to the hospital. And my son's school is so incredible. We have struggled for a long time to find the right school for him. My daughter, she goes to a private Christian school, and she's been in Christian schools since before Josh and I met. For those of you who don't know, she is my bonus daughter. So I met her when she was 4, and she had been going to private Christian schools since the beginning. So that's been her environment and she thrives in it and she loves her school that she's in. With our son, I personally did not want to put him into religious education for a multitude of reasons, but I also am not the biggest fan of public school. I think there's not that public school is bad, and there's no shame or guilt in putting your kids in public school. We went back and forth so many times about it. We're also in a really, really great ISD with some of the best schools in Texas. So it's not like our public schools are not great. They are just crowded and they're structured in a way that I feel don't suit my son best for the stage of life he's in right now as a crazy, wild, curious 6-year-old boy who should be outside and playing with friends and not sitting at a desk all day and just get extra love and attention. So we had discovered this school last year, or the he went to school here last year, so the summer prior to kindergarten. We were about to enroll him in public school. I had searched and searched for private schools or Montessori's or alternative schools and finally came across this school that had been around for a couple of years and essentially was for public school teachers who left public school to start their own school. And at first, they were operating out of a shared space. I believe it was like a gym space or a church. I can't quite remember. And they had, 30 plus kids, and they had built this really beautiful school community. And the year that we found them, they had just purchased a property about 5 minutes from our house in this unrestricted neighborhood with a lot of land, very beautiful in the trees. They purchased this huge 2-story home and basically renovated it into a schoolhouse. So if you can imagine homeschool meets the experience and expertise of public education, there's about 50 kids. They're separated by age level. So the youngest being like 5 to 7, which is the age group my son is in. You have the middle age group, which I believe is like 8 to 10. And then you have 10 and up, which are kind of the middle school and I think one freshman aged kid. And it's amazing. At first, we kind of struggled with it because we both went to public school. So I'm like, are we doing the best thing for him? Is this the best choice? Again, every parent can relate to that thought process of, am I making the right choices for my kid when it comes to sports, when it comes to friends, when it comes to school, when it comes to discipline? It's a constant battle. Like I really am all the time going back and forth in my head, asking myself if I'm doing things right. And for one, I think that makes you a great parent, that you actually care and that you're actually thinking through those things. And for two, I think we're all going to experience that no matter how good of a decision we're making, or no matter what it looks like, or no matter what we put our kids through, we're good parents are always going to be wondering, am I doing what's best for them? So he started again this year. And when I got that phone call from his teacher, I don't think most schools would have done what they did. I think most schools would have sent him to the nurse's office. They would have called an ambulance. The ambulance would have taken them, and that would be that. These teachers are some of the most caring, passionate, sweet, attentive humans when it comes to kids. And they drove him to the hospital and waited with him while my mom and Josh literally zoomed their way over. My mom was coming from about an hour away. And at that point, I called Josh and he was like, holy shit. He was in Brenham and he said, I'm about an hour and 45 minutes. Mind you, he got there in about an hour. So I know, well, maybe it was like an hour and 20. I know he sped like a demon, which stressed me out too. And I'm just in the car like, oh my God. I could hear him crying. They let me talk to him for a second and they were like, it's pretty bad. Like his wrist is really bad. He didn't hit his head, but he's in a lot of pain. This instant mom guilt washed over me. And I struggle with mom guilt a lot when it comes to discipline because I think for me, I know for me, I am kind of a pushover when it comes to my son because he's my little baby and he's a boy. And I just really struggle with being the discipliner. And so I won't discipline or he won't listen to me, if I'm being frank. And then we'll have these days where I scream or I get upset or I have to figure out some way to make him listen or to just get my point across that this is not acceptable behavior or we can't do things this way or, we don't yell, we don't hit, we don't, whatever it might be. He's a 6-year-old boy. And so I struggle with that mom guilt a lot of balancing discipline versus gentle parenting versus just all of the things, and Josh always tells me I am just too easy on him. I'm a pushover, I guess, and he knows it. My son knows it, and so he uses that against me, and it's fucking annoying. That's the kind of mom guilt I deal with. But on this specific day, I just felt this insane guilt that I was on my way to a conference, which was my choice, and the one time he was in the most pain he's probably ever been in his life and needed me, which I'm usually always home, I wasn't there. And I had to tell him, hey, bud, I love you so much. And dad's on his way. And I will see you in a couple days. What felt like hours of calling and back and forth between teachers and Josh, my mom, all the while I'm on the road driving. I had the first panic attack that I've had in a really, really long time. I've shared on this podcast really openly about how I have struggled with anxiety for many years, many, 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 many years. And I know it goes back to childhood trauma and PTSD and grief and losing my brother and all of the shitty things I went through as a kid. And I navigated it deeply in my early 20s. And I would say the last 5 years have been so much better. There was a period with Josh when our son was first born that I really, really struggled with it. I'm talking ER, medicine, lots of therapy, really, really struggled with anxiety and constant panic and racing heart. And I think I'm going to die, or I'm going to have a heart attack and you go to the ER, kind of this repetitive cycle. And the last couple of years, it's been really good. I have not had a panic attack in so long. And I credit a lot of it to not just overall healing, but self awareness, to fitness, and being able to find things where I can process, being able to have really beautiful relationships with my husband and my friends and my family, to where I feel really supported and there's not a kind of looming anxiousness about the future or about the current circumstances, which is where a lot of my anxiety stemmed before, kind of like the worry of things and where things would go. And I just feel like I haven't had that, which has also been hard because I don't know if any of you relate to this, but for a long time, I would constantly think to myself, if something bad isn't happening right now, it's coming. Like it's just time's ticking. Like something's going to happen. Life's too good. Like this is too good to be true. And eventually, I had to stop thinking that way and start telling myself, like, this is my reality. The good things in my life are good and they're not going anywhere. And I can be successful and healthy and have good relationships. Like, there doesn't always have to be this ticking time bomb of something terrible happening. And that's really how I used to operate in life. I used to always feel like things were too good to be true, and it was just an inevitable situation where something bad would happen. And now I realize, yes, bad things happen in life and we can't always control them, but there is a lot of things we can control. And so I've been able to kind of get over that mental block that I had for a long time and just really tell myself, like, things work out for me. Things are great and they're going to continue to be great. And I am great. And I'm going to be healthy and I'm going to be successful and I'm not going to have fear and I'm not going to have worry. And the things I can control, I'm going to control them so that way they don't turn into bigger problems or snowball into something worse or be things that I have to worry about. Because again, I have control. So, with that being said, I hadn't had a panic attack in literally years, and I'm on the phone. They're at the hospital. The break was pretty bad, but again, he didn't hit his head. There wasn't anything major, but they told me that he needed to get put on anesthetic and go under. Those were the words. He needs to go under so they can reset his arm. And I don't know why in my head that just triggered something that completely made me break down. I had to stop at a gas station. I was like just ugly crying. I felt like, oh my God, what if he doesn't wake up? What if there's a complication? What if he's allergic to something? Because he'd never been to the hospital. He'd never really even had any kind of medication other than Tylenol. I was like, what if there's a reaction? What if something happens and it gets worse and I'm not there? And there was a clear second where I contemplated turning around the 4 hours and just driving back. Called my mom, which God bless Angela. She is I don't even know what I would do without her. And she kind of talked me down and said, okay, this is a practice I always used to do when I had panic attacks. What do we know? What is truth right now? What is truth and what is something you're making up in your head or something that is not actually the reality that's happening right now? What we know is his arm is broken. They need to reset it. They're going to give him some kind of anesthetic. We don't know what kind of anesthetic it is. When we know, we will tell you and we will let you know what is going to happen. That is the truth. There is not this story that I was making up of like, oh my gosh, what if this happens and then this happens? And I started spiraling. And for the first time in so long, the panic was just unbearable. Really had to deal with that. Felt very dissociated for a second, and my mind went to the worst possible places. I have a best friend who lost her son. My mom lost her son. Child loss has been a huge part of my story and navigating my life because I am so close to my mom who lost a child who was my brother and at a young age. So, child loss has always been a struggle when it comes to my kids. And when Josh was a baby, Joshy, my son, not my husband, I struggled with those thoughts. I have constantly had this fear of child loss. And so instantly my head went there, which was a terrible place to go. All in all, it ended up being fine. He was fine. I was fine. Everything was fine. Thank God for my husband, who is a saint. He took care of everything. It was a really hard weekend for them. Lots of just crying and pain. Baby Josh was on ketamine and morphine. And so he was coming down from that. And it was just traumatic for him and for my husband and for me, honestly. And then, the next day I go to this conference where I'm like boss babing all day while my son is, FaceTiming me with his broken arm and in pain. So it was just such a mom guilt moment. And I really just resonate with all the moms listening who have these moments where you're like, I am not there for my kid, or I am making a choice that's for me and not for them. Like in that moment, I'm driving to a conference. It's about me, not the conference, but I'm making this decision for me and my career over being at home. And a couple things I want to say to that. And I talked about this on a podcast. I can't remember with who, but there is something really beautiful about being an ambitious woman and allowing your kids to witness what it means to support an ambitious woman or an ambitious partner. And what I mean by that is, no, I wasn't there when his arm broke. I wasn't there to be in the hospital or to, care for him that weekend when he was in the most pain he was at the time. But when I did get home, I told him, hey, bud, I am so sorry I wasn't able to be there. Mommy had a really important event for work and it was important to me. And so, that's why your dad was here and he was able to take care of you. And it's not that I didn't want to be here, but mommy also has a job and that job's important to me. So I know it might not quite make the most sense right now at this age, but I do know that one day my son will grow up and he will see, like, hey, my mom loved me and she was a great mom, hopefully, but she also loved herself and she had her own passions and she had her own dreams outside of just being a mom. And this is how we supported her as a family. This is how my dad supported her. These are the kinds of decisions she would make. And when she was home or we were doing stuff together, she was attentive and she was there and she was present, but she also was a human and she had her own identity and she had her own passions and she loved it. A lot of times my son will come up to me and he's like, do you like your work? Because I'll have a long day or I'll be on my computer or I'll be complaining even sometimes like, oh my God, I had this client call today and this happened, da da da. And he's like, do you love your job? And I'm like, yes, I love what I do because I am my own boss. I get to build my own business. I get to be creative. I get to work with all kinds of different people and I'm in control of it. I get to make us lots of money and it's so much fun. It's sometimes hard, but it's a lot of fun. And I love that he gets to see that. He gets to see a mom who balances parenthood and her own identity. And that's really important to me because I have said it on this podcast before, but I didn't want to be a mom. I didn't want to be a parent, really. And it happened to me, not by choice. So I had to navigate the world of being a mom while also being so passionate about other things in life. And I really believed before my son was born, really before I met Josh, that I was going to go on to be this artist. And I, got accepted to school in New York and I was going to move there and I was going to have this just incredible life of fun and experience and curiosity and experience the world. And then, my son came along and my family came along and I met Josh and he had a daughter and all of that wasn't put in the trash. It was just postponed. And so now I really feel like I'm getting to, oh my God, like follow these instincts that I've had since I was a young girl of directing my life and being able to build this beautiful life of experiences. Now that I am gonna be 30, you guys, in a month. I can't believe my birthday is in a month. Literally, oh my God, yes, because today is what? I'm recording on the 30th. So when this comes out, it's like the 3rd. I will be 30 in literally less than a month. And I have never been more excited for a birthday. And I'm one of those annoying ass girls who's it's like, I need to be celebrated. Like, it's my birthday. And Josh always makes fun of me because my birthday is on the 1st. So I kind of feel like I don't get the full month. You know, if your birthday is like, I don't know, on the 13th or the 20th or whatever, you kind of get the weeks leading up because it's your birthday month. Well, my birthday is on the 1st and then it's here and gone. So I like to start celebrating early October. It's Halloween season. It's my favorite holiday. It's my birthday when the clock strikes midnight on Halloween. So I am just really pumped to be 30. I've never been more excited to be an age. There have been, I mean, don't get me wrong, kind of freaking out that I'm getting old. I really start to feel old when I meet people, especially if I'm out at a bar or like networking or whatever. And someone is, I don't know, let's say 24, 25, and they tell me, oh, I was born in 2000, which I'm not that much older. I was born in 95. However, you're telling me you're born in the 21st century. I'm a 90s baby and you're 25. I also feel really old when I go out and I don't get hit on by the young guys. They're probably like this old fucking lady. I mean, I am a MILF, I will say that, but this old lady up in here, and I see these young, hot 21-year-olds, and I'm just like, wow, me at 21 was a shit show. And me at 30 is, I don't know, it's like Sex in the City, where you enter into this age of I'm so aligned with who I want to be. I'm so confident. I feel good. I've never looked better. I feel mature. I feel really smart. I'm equipped with so many tools in life that I've learned over this fucking decade of a shit show, from divorce and religious trauma and getting knocked up and being pregnant and working at strip clubs and starting a business and losing weight, gaining weight. I mean, dealing with mental health, like all of the things that have happened in my 20s have been, to me, you could write a book about it. And for a lot of people, probably doesn't happen in their 20s. It happens over time. So I am just like, what is going to happen in my 30s? Because it's going to be good. It's going to be really, really fucking good. Of course, we're doing a big Halloween party on the 25th. The theme is a seance, like a witchy seance. I'm laughing because I am notorious for, I'm a great writer and I'm a really good speller, but I'm notorious for like small grammatical errors that I know better, but I just triple check and it might just be like if I'm smoking weed or something and then it happens. But I sent out these invites, so cute, fire invites. I was like, this shit is so bomb. Sent it out to, I don't know, 50 people. And then I hadn't shown Josh. And so we're sitting last weekend and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even show you the invites. Like, this person's coming, this person's coming. This is the theme. This is what I'm doing. Let me show you the invite. And I get the invite out and immediately he's like, that's wrong. And I'm like, what's wrong? It said summoning Taylor's 30th decade. Instead of third decade or 30th year, I said summoning Taylor's 30th decade, which means I am 300. He was like, yeah, you're definitely a witch. No one said anything. Not one of you motherfuckers, friends, family, nobody said, hey, Tay, there is an error, a grammatical error. You might want to change that. The only one who caught it, or maybe the only one who told me, was my husband. So I had to change that. But the theme is the summoning. It's a witchy theme. We're going full coven, like American Horror Story inspired. And I'm really freaking stoked because every year it's just a blast. As you guys know, we got engaged a few years ago at the party. So every year is just, it's like trying to one up the year before. So that's what's on the horizon. 30 is on the horizon. The other thing that I wanted to share with you guys that is really exciting, and I am kind of shocked to even be here at this point. I have officially been training jiu-jitsu for 8 months. Do you guys remember the episode when I shared I was going to start training jiu-jitsu? We're 8 months in. And it's insane to think, because when I first started and I met people who were like, oh, I'm a 1-year white belt, I was just amazed at how much they knew. Like, rolling with them, I was just, oh my God, you just know so much and you're so good at this. I mean, not compared, to a blue belt or up. White belts, we just all fucking suck. Really, honestly, jujitsu is just hard in general for anybody. It doesn't matter what level you're at, it's just fucking hard. But I thought to myself, oh my God, what it would be like to be a white belt with a year of experience. And I'm now at 8 months. I will say one of the things about being a white belt in jujitsu, you have this new level of confidence that you just cannot make up. I don't know if it's just me or if everyone feels this way. So if you train jujitsu or a martial art, please DM me and tell me if you feel this way. But now that I know jujitsu, I will go out to a bar or if I'm at a restaurant or when I was at the event and we're like walking at night, just wherever I'm at. I have this level of confidence where I'm like, fuck with me. I dare you to fuck with me. I will choke you out, bro. Now, unless someone else knows jujitsu or another martial art, I am literally toast. I won't be able to do shit. But if you don't know it, I have just enough training to where I could fuck you up. And, I'm a woman. I'm a pretty woman. So, of course, I know and understand I'm a possible target of violence or something awful happening to me, especially when it's nighttime or I'm in a sketchy scenario or there's drinks involved or whatever it might be the case. Josh is always like, please protect yourself. But now I'm like, not only am I hot, but I will choke you out so hard you won't even remember that I'm hot because you'll be asleep. So there's just this level of confidence. You feel like you know more than the average person. And I'm so annoying because I will be talking to people and I'll be like, oh, I train jujitsu. What about you? So I just get this level of confidence with jujitsu that's hilarious because I feel like I want to fight people, but also I'm terrified. I've also learned, and this might be a total niche thing. So if you don't give a fuck about jujitsu, you probably can just end the episode and tune this out because this is really the last things I'm going to talk about on this episode today. I am a giggly girl. I was listening to a podcast called I Suck at Jiu-Jitsu Show. It's this guy, Josh McKenney, who's a black belt. I can't remember where he trains. He owns a gym. I don't even know where he's at, but I love his content. I love his podcast. And he does this segment where he has people write in the most annoying things about people at their gym. It's all anonymous, of course, but people are just basically trash talking different types of people that train at jiu-jitsu gyms. And one of the things that came in as I'm listening to the episode, they said, we hate giggly girls. I'm like, first of all, who hates giggly girls? Second of all, giggling is fun. Third of all, so what? I will literally be rolling with a, 200-pound man and he's crushing my soul. And I just start to laugh. I don't know if it's a defense mechanism. I don't know if I'm trying to lighten the mood. I don't know if my flight or fight is like, hey, let's lighten the situation up a little bit and start laughing. And I'm not usually someone who laughs when I'm nervous. When I'm nervous, I just kind of shut down, internalize things a little bit. Actually, now that I think about that though, when I'm about to get on like a roller coaster, I do get a little giggly. Or if it's something like that where your stomach's gonna, not like if you're getting in an argument with your partner or something, but yeah, maybe that's what it is. I get this giggly, I don't know, it just takes over. So I am the giggly girl in the gym. But what I did want to say is there's a couple of lessons and I wrote them down because I didn't want to forget them. Couple of lessons I have learned from 8 months of jujitsu that have really impacted just everything in my life. And jujitsu is really hard. And I'm not trying to be, you know, a gold medal competitor. I'm not trying to be the best jujitsu, whatever the fuck. I don't even know what I'm trying to do. I am just trying to get better at jujitsu. I mean, would it be nice to have a blue belt one day? Absolutely. Would it be cool to compete one day and like win? Sure. But I'm not trying to be the best jujitsu girl. I am just trying to be a better human. And I've learned that there are all of these lessons. I mean, don't get me wrong, jujitsu is really fun. It's a great workout. There's community involved. I have a lot of fun doing it. But I have noticed that there are these teachable lessons in jujitsu that translate into other areas of my life, whether it's parenting, whether it's work, whether it's relationships, or just being a human. And I wanted to share some of the things I've learned from jujitsu that I feel I wasn't really getting in any other scenario. The first one is this: even the biggest egos, The deserving egos need to get checked once in a while. And this has been probably one of my favorite parts about jiu-jitsu because I am a very confident person, if you can't tell. I think highly of myself. I'm very confident. I don't really do a lot of self, you know, I don't talk myself down. I feel really competent. I feel like I have great successes. I just think highly of myself, which I think is a good thing. Definitely want to be self-aware and you want to always, understand that you can be better, but I think I am a pretty decent person. However, going into jujitsu and thinking you're a good person, especially I'm pretty fit, I make good money, like I'm smart. You get into jujitsu and all of a sudden, whatever ego you have, it's checked immediately. And it doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter if you were a freaking, I don't know, sergeant in the military. It doesn't matter if you're a billionaire. It doesn't matter if you're the hottest thing that's ever walked this planet. It doesn't matter how much money you make, what background you come from. Your ego will get checked. And how you deal with that is the lesson. If you're the kind of person who gets your ass kicked and then you're pissed off because you're a white belt and the blue belt kicked your ass and they're 15, that's your problem. You need to understand how to handle defeat, how to handle problem solving, how to handle not being the best in the room at that thing. So getting my ego checked on a regular basis is probably one of my absolute favorite parts of jujitsu, especially when I am like having a great week. Let's say work's going really well. I close deals, like I've had a good networking, home life is good. I go to jujitsu and I just get wrecked. I just get choked out. I get beat the fuck up. A lot of times it's again, a teenager or an old man even. And I walk out going, oh my God, I am not shit. Like I'm literally not shit. And then I go home and I take a shower and I go to sleep and I do it all over again. And it's the best feeling just being at the bottom of the totem pole. And I understand I am a white belt, so I don't know how long that might last. I mean, most people I talk to say that jujitsu does kick your ass, but it's a really good feeling. In that same kind of category, being a beginner at something regularly is so good for you. And I've talked about this before when it came to the topic of variety, right? I love to try things. I love to do new things, whether it's getting into running or, starting a business that's new or getting involved in something that I'm, never been a part of, starting powerlifting, getting into jujitsu at 30. I'm a complete beginner. And it's not often that we as adults, especially the older we get, become beginners again. We do it as kids, sometimes not even that. And then we grow up and we get so comfortable in our, little lives with our job and our same hobbies and our same friends. And we don't do anything out of the ordinary. We don't do anything that gets us uncomfortable. And we just kind of coast along in this comfortable little life. And being a beginner is so uncomfortable, especially when it's something like jujitsu, where your body is literally getting smashed and choked out by people, all in good fun. And you're realizing all of the learning and the stretching that happens as a beginner. It is so good for your brain. It's so good for your confidence. It's just leaking into everything. And it's reminding me that it's okay to not be the absolute fucking best at everything. Like it's okay to be like, hey, I am a beginner. I'm learning. I am on a journey of learning. And that's the most beautiful part of life, I think, is to try new things and get to be a beginner and choose that route instead of just being super comfortable and never trying anything new. If you're listening and you haven't done anything new, like just go to a jujitsu class and try it out. I mean, it's not for everyone for sure, but there's things that you can do where you can start as a beginner and just see how much you reap from it. Community. This is something that I realize now that it's been about a year. When I used to go to church, I was so involved in community because I was, obviously in a church for many, many years. And it was it was really my home. I was going to say third place where you have, your home, your work, and your third place. And your third place is usually where you're going to meet people and make connections. It's kind of your home away from home of sorts. It might be a club, like not an actual party club, although that might be your third place too. That was my third place when I was 23. It could be like, a sports club or Maybe you do pickleball, or maybe you have like a networking thing that you go to, or maybe you're part of like a members only club and that's where you go after work and meet people and go to events. Jiu-jitsu, the gym itself, has become my third place because I realized I don't really have a community. I mean, I have close friends, I have family, and I have people I can call if I needed something, especially in a business setting. I have a lot of connections, which is fantastic. It's good to have connections. But I realized like I don't have a community of people who really, really care about you and your family and care about you becoming a good person. Because a lot of communities, they really don't give a fuck. They want something from you, but they don't really give much in return. And what's amazing about our dojo Revolution in Houston, it's such a family-oriented place. And I've seen that there is so much compassion and generosity and care, and just people treat it like family. And I now have become part of that family just from genuine conversations, from people checking in, like how was Bub when he broke his arm? When we went back to jujitsu after he broke his arm, one of the buddies who we roll with like brought him Legos and everyone was messaging. When we went out of town, I had someone from our gym watch our dog. People on there are helping people move and donating money and providing tutoring, and just it's such a beautiful place because if you're a part of that family, we're all there for one reason, whether it's us training individually or we're there because our kids go there, or someone we love goes there and trains there. We're there to be better. And part of being better is having community that supports you in that. And a lot of people don't have that. They might not have that at home and they find that at the gym. Thankfully, I'm blessed where I have Josh, I have kids, I have family, I have friends, I have my mom, but some people don't. And they find that at the gym. They find that at their dojo. And I missed it. I missed it so much coming from a church background where it is very intertwined and you had that so deeply outside of family. And I'm realizing that this jujitsu community that I just kind of stumbled upon, it's so much more than just jujitsu. And I feel really, really lucky to be part of it. Number 4, by the way, this is a list of 7, so we're almost done here. Nothing beats a good ass whooping. Okay. If I'm having a bad day, if I am stressed, if I had a good day, nothing is better than driving home knowing you got your ass kicked. And it's kind of hard to explain. I don't know if this is like a me thing, a jujitsu thing, like a certain type of person thing. But when I come home from an ass kicking, I am like, I needed that. I deserved that. For whatever I have done in my past, I deserve that ass kicking. And maybe it's the humility that you're learning, going back again to being a beginner. The other day I was training with this girl who's a blue belt and she's really, really good. And she submitted me probably 7 times in one 5-minute roll. And every time she submitted me, I would tap, look at her and say, let's go again. And then she would submit me and I would smile. And at the end of the roll, I was like, my humility is so high right now. My ego is so low and I needed it. I just fucking needed that. So if you haven't had an ass whooping lately, I suggest you go get an ass whooping. And I think what I love about jujitsu, different than going to the gym or like going for a run, those things are so individualized. I mean, yes, you can run with someone. Yes, you can go to the gym and train with someone. But when you're doing a martial art and you're rolling with someone, they are doing it to you, you know? When you're running, someone's not running on you, or they're not like lifting weights on you. They're not doing the movements on your body. They're not creating resistance. Jiu-jitsu, judo, wrestling, boxing, like you're going against someone and they're doing something to you. You have to process that, not only mentally, physically, emotionally. It's a lot involved, and it's creating just this gritty character that I've never experienced in my life because I've always been such a pansy with everything. Very sensitive, don't like to get hurt. And I'm like, oh my God, like, who is she? God, she's getting thrown around. Oh my God, she's bruised. Last night I got choked and my ear was like on fire. I was like, oh my God, do I have cauliflower ear? Please no. But also that'd be really cool. Number 5, Oh, this is a perfect segue. I am actually a lot more physically resilient than I've ever given myself credit for. Like I just literally said, I had no idea that was even next on the list. I have always been a pansy. I've always been very like, I'm not capable of hard physical things. I'm not an athlete. I'm not this. I'm not tough. And being in jujitsu, I don't know if it's either the fact that I've kind of always had these things innate and jujitsu is helping me refine them, or jujitsu is creating them. And the reason I'm not sure is because I think I have wanted to create mental toughness and I have been able to build it a little bit through working out, through powerlifting, through running. But in jujitsu, you kind of get over these barriers because there's no other option. It's like I'm either going to be here and I'm going to train or I'm not. And because I want to and because I'm getting so much out of this, I just have to be a little tougher. Like I can't be scared. It might hurt. Yeah, I might get a bruise. I might get a scratch. I might get my face crushed. I might get kicked. The other day I got hit in the head. Like those things might happen. But do I want to create mental toughness and physical toughness, or am I just saying that I want to? Because I've always wanted to be tough, but I've always talked myself down of like, well, I'm just not. Almost like an identity thing. Like I'm just not tough, you know? And now I'm seeing, well, I might not always have been tough, but I'm getting tougher and I'm learning how to push myself past these barriers I've created in my mind and even in my body. Like, yeah, does that feel good? No, but the more it happens, the more normal it gets. And then eventually you're like, I mean, it is what it is, you know? I would rather be getting my ass kicked by someone I know and trust and learn how to handle it than get my ass kicked by someone I don't know with bad intentions in this crazy ass world and not know how to handle it. I don't want to experience fight or flight without being prepared. And I have before. Thankfully never in a like an abusive situation, more of like a safety emotional situation. Some other sexual situations that I won't get into, but thankfully, knock on wood, I have never been in a position where I was getting hurt by someone. And I'm at this point in my life where I'm like, I would rather know what to do and train for it than pretend it doesn't happen. And although it might be rare, especially where I live, because I live in a safe area and I'm relatively responsible, I don't want to risk that. So, jujitsu is teaching me how to be tough. And I'm actually taking a handgun class in a couple weeks, actually, from someone at my gym who teaches tactical classes. I'm doing like a hybrid tactical handgun class. It's like 4 hours and you do different scenarios with your gun. Josh got me a Smith& Wesson 9mm a couple years ago for my birthday, and I've never shot it. So I wanted to learn how to shoot my gun and carry it. And now I will be a double threat because I will be not only carrying and I'll know how to use it, but I could also choke you out. So pick your poison. And then lastly, two last things. Confidence is learned and taught. Do I think confidence is something that you are born with? A little bit. I think confidence is more a product of who is around you and how you're raised, self talk, how they treat you. Like I came from a family who was so uplifting and positive and just always telling me, you know, positive things and having me think positively about myself and celebrating my wins. And even when I did mess up, they were just very understanding and caring and never made me feel like shit. And so I think that led a lot into the confident person I am. And I want to talk more about that on the podcast in the next couple of episodes of charisma and confidence. It's something I'm really leaning into, but I am learning that confidence can 1000% be learned. It can be taught. It is not something you are born with or without. It's not something that once you hit a certain age, you're like, oh, well, guess I'm never going to be confident because I didn't get that gene. Confidence is a choice. It is something you learn. It is something you practice. It is not a one and done, oh, I'm just confident forever. It's not something that you get passed down. Are some people naturally more confident? Totally. However, I really believe you can become the most confident version of yourself with certain practices you put into place, with certain things that you do to your mind and your body and your spirit to help you be more confident. And jujitsu is one of those things because not only from a, like I was saying, a confidence perspective of my surroundings and my fight or flight, but just being able to accomplish things and get that confidence of like, oh, I did that. Like, I got my first stripe. I stayed in this for 8 months. I learned how to choke someone out. I had a good roll today. I didn't have a good roll today and I handled it really well. All of those things are like little tokens going into my confidence bucket. And the more of those I can get, the more of a self aware, positive, confident woman I will be who will love herself. And that will spread to others. I really believe if you're a confident individual, real confidence, not like a narcissist, not that fake, just, oh, me, but I love myself and I'm proud of who I am, that leaks onto other people and other people crave it and they want it and it's magnetic. And when you're confident, you're able to love people deeper because you're not so stuck in your own head. You're not so stuck thinking about my shortcomings or my failures or I feel ugly today or I'm failing at this or I suck at this. You're able to say, I'm so full, I'm able to give to others. I'm able to point out other people's positives and their wins and celebrate them because I celebrate myself. And it kind of just overflows. And jujitsu has become a part of my confidence process that I am really, really grateful for. The last thing I will end on this long episode about parenthood and mom guilt and confidence and choking people out is jujitsu is not for everyone. Just like running is not for everyone, just like podcasting is not for everyone, just like I am not for everyone. However, I do think anyone could learn from jujitsu. The beautiful thing about it, it does not matter how big you are, how small you are, how old you are, the skin color of your skin, how much money you make, athletic or not athletic, injury, like it literally does not matter. All that matters is that you show up, you're willing to learn, and you're willing to push yourself. That is literally it. And the lessons are invaluable. I have definitely learned more lessons from jujitsu than running, than working out, maybe even more than business, honestly. Jiu-jitsu has given me a superpower, not only physically, but these mental superpowers that will carry me into so many other hard things and give me confidence in so many other areas because 3 times a week I show up to a mat and I'm willing to forget about every other thing except one goal. Get on that mat, defend myself, and fucking tear it up. Hopefully get a submission, but most of the times I don't. Most of the times I just try to survive and not get submitted. And that's good enough, right? Like that is what I am there to do. And I really believe if you are someone who is looking for community or you're looking for a way to build confidence, you're looking for a way to move your body, you're looking for a way to challenge yourself, you're looking for a way to be a beginner, you're looking for a way to just check your fucking ego, go to a jiu-jitsu class, sign up for a class, do a free trial, just see what happens when you do something outside of your comfort zone. I'm going to end this on that note. This has been a long rant, but it's been a while since I've used this mic as a therapy session. So with all that being said, I love you guys. I enjoy these solo episodes so much. It truly is a way for me to process all of the crazy shit in my life and all the things that go on in this brain. And I hope you guys have enjoyed it. As always, if you loved the episode, please leave a review on Spotify, on Apple Podcast. Share this with a friend. We are on all the airwaves and we're on YouTube now. So share with a friend. Tune in next week and I will see you guys next time on Ironically Serious.